We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Get woke, go broke. A catchy phrase, no doubt, and one that has in the past proved true enough. But it's not always the case. Sometimes going woke leads to lucrative agreements, media lavishing praise, and even government regulations that just might drown your competitors. So where does that leave California? Well, the Golden State is the vanguard of all things woke and progressive, and certainly has the credentials and the cash. But beneath that huge economy in Sunlit Hills, we see drug addiction, homelessness, crime, and an exodus of folks and companies, I'm looking at you, Elon Musk, to more business-friendly shores. Well, to figure out just how far California is willing to go, we're joined by author and podcaster and Californian-born man about town, Jeff Charles. Welcome back to the show. So, Jeff, we're used to hearing just about every progressive woke idea that comes originally from the Golden State. Now, why has this otherwise paradisical plot of land become the petri dish for progressive experimentation?
Yeah, the thing is, California has become arguably the bluest state in the union. It wasn't always that way, but the entire California government is run by Democrats. Republicans have very little say in what goes on, and the way the system is set up. It is the way California's electoral system is set up is in a way that was designed to effectively benefit Democrat officials who are running for state or even local offices. So that is in large part responsible for the increasingly leftist turn towards socialism that we're seeing out of California right now. It's worse than it's ever been.
Okay, so what's the latest Frankenstein's monster of wokeness on the cards for the poor folk of the West Coast?
Yes, well, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a series of very woke proposals this past weekend. Things like mandating ethnic studies in high school as a requirement for graduation. He also signed a bill into law that would compel companies or retail stores that sell toys. They have to now have a section for gender neutral toys, or they will be fined. And I believe this goes into effect either in 2023 or 2024. He's also banned gas-powered lawnmowers. So again, this is where California is going, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to pull it back from the brink just yet.
So Elon Musk just announced that a large chunk of his production, Tesla production, is moving down to Texas, the same place you moved to. Now, It makes sense from a business point of view, I guess. Lower taxes, less intrusive government regulation. But he's getting some pushback from critics who say that he sucked up all the benefits and the subsidies. But surely he's paid that debt off, right? They can't expect him or any other business owner to stick around when things become more and more punitive, can they?
Of course not. It would be completely unreasonable. And Tesla is just one of many major businesses who have moved their headquarters to Texas, especially to here in Austin. I can't blame him for moving. Nobody can. The fact of the matter is that it is easier to do business in Texas than it is in California. They have a very unfriendly business environment there. This is going to keep happening. We're going to see more and more companies moving to places like Texas or other red states in the union.
Okay, now there's a certain mythology to La La Land, and by extension, the state of California. It draws in a steady crowd of those hoping to make their names, from the entertainment industry to businesses, some of those looking to cash in on the very generous subsidies that the government does offer from the taxpayer purse. But there are masses of problems that these folks with these stars in their eyes, they just seem not to see. They don't see the drug addicts, the defecating in the streets, the rapes, the muggings, the murders. So what causes this ideological blindness, do you think?
It's funny. It's always been this way. People talk about, I want to go to Hollywood. I've been to Hollywood many times. It's pretty nasty. It's been that way for a while. Now, there are a lot of nice areas of Hollywood, but that's kind of the same for the rest of the state. There are very nice areas of Los Angeles and very not so nice areas. I'd imagine the same is true in San Francisco as well. But when you see California in the media, they're not talking about the stuff that's going wrong, especially nowadays. They're not talking about the homeless issues. They're not shining a light on those things. You have to essentially look online or look for sources who will actually report on that. Largely, it's political. They don't want the rest of the country to know that the progressive governance in Californian cities has been abysmal. So I can't blame people for coming to California and thinking that it's all glitz and glamour. Yeah, that's a part of it, but there's a whole other side of it as well.
Yeah, I think part of that stems from you've got your main Democratic Party leaders. You've got your Nancy Pelosi, your Adam Schiff, and literally in their constituencies, there are homeless camps and just crime rates and generally quite disgusting places to live. And so I think if it were portrayed in the media, then people would think, well, if this person can't even do something for the district that they're representing, what can they do for the country? Do you think it's an element of that?
Yeah, I think that's why they avoid showing the bad areas. I mean, and this is also true of other states, like in Baltimore. Before, President Trump said something about it, people weren't paying attention to what was going on in Baltimore. But people who were in the know, they know how badly these places are governed. I mean, even their mayors and city councils. It's horrible. I mean, Walgreens had to shut down 5 more stores in the San Francisco area because their brain surgeon government decided to allow people to shoplift. So these are prime examples of how progressivism doesn't work, but they have to cover this stuff up because they don't want people to know it.
Let's clarify that for just a moment, please, Jeff. So the local government allowed people to shoplift or decided not to pursue prosecution against those that do?
Yeah, that's a distinction without a difference, really. I mean, they're not
absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, they are essentially allowing it by refusing to prosecute it. So it's not just Walgreens. Other stores, even small business owners, they can't do anything. If somebody decides to come in and steal some stuff, as long as it's not over a certain dollar amount, they can steal it. And it's not like the governments are even trying to reimburse them for this or try to make it right. They're just letting it happen under the name of so-called progressivism. At this point, they know what they're doing, and they just don't care. They know this isn't going to help lift anybody out of poverty. They know that this is just going to cause destruction, and they don't care.
Yeah, it's who are they lifting out of poverty? The people who have just stolen the new shoes, or the new shoes that have just been the person who was supposed to sell the new shoes that they bought and put into their shop. Now, let's talk about Governor Newsom for a moment. He beat the recall election. There's a lot of folks happy about that, slightly less who are unhappy. But I think, to me, it seems that the folks who voted for him, they didn't really understand what they were going to get. You see, they voted for the Newsom that they had, but not the Newsom that the opposition feared he would become. So as soon as he was in the clear of this recall election, I think they caught a glimpse of this newly emboldened governor, a Newsom 2.0, if you will. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Gavin Newsom dodged a bullet, and he got lucky because the candidate that was a front runner. They were able to use him. They were able to use Larry Elder to scare people to coming out and supporting Newsom. They weren't thinking ahead of what was going to happen. They just didn't want Larry Elder in the governor's mansion. And what happened is now that they have Newsom and he knows he's not in danger, he's going to keep going. I mean, the mandates that I just listed off, it's going to get worse for California. And hopefully they make some better decisions when he's up for re-election.
Jeff Charles, thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me.
Right after this short break, we're talking liberty. What's happening at SCOTUS and what cases are going to impact you and your freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Liberty Nation Radio here on the Radio America Network. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.